Hi Year 10, so this is the fourth lesson of the topic B7, and just to get us thinking about animal adaptations. Nice quick easy lesson today. Well, maybe not quick, but definitely easy. We've got some different animals here and you can just have a little think to yourself while we're just getting ourselves sorted with our books and whatever. Well, how are these animals adapted for where they live? Okay, so what kind of features have they got that help them to survive in their environment? Okay, if you want to take a bit of time on this, you can pause now. If not, we can move on to the title. I don't mind which. So, title today, if we can write it down, please. Lesson 4 is how do animal adaptations help them compete for survival? How do animal adaptations help them to compete for survival? Now, you'll notice in Satchel 1, I have put some links. Now I've put a link directly to this video. I've also put a link to a playlist, which is this whole topic basically. And within that, there are 3 videos that I would show in class, and you're going to have to go to those to have a look at them. So when we come to looking at some particular videos, you're going to go onto that link on YouTube. It's called Year 10 Distance Learning, and there's a triple one and a double one. Doesn't matter which one you go in, they've both got the right resources for today, and you'll be able to see those 3 videos. Okay, so when we get to those, you will need that additional link. Okay, let's move on. So adaptations of the polar bear, bit of a different one. We know a lot of things. We know about camouflage with the white fur. They even cover up their nose to keep them even more hidden when they're trying to hunt out that prey. The greasy fur repels water, so they don't get bulked down with all of that water. Small surface area to volume ratio, because they've got the small ears, and because they're such a chunky animal, they actually have quite a large volume compared to their surface area. No need to write any notes from this page. All we're doing is just getting a feel for some different animals, okay? The fur is actually colourless. It's these hollow tubes that trap heat, and underneath that fur is black skin which absorbs the heat. So loads and loads of adaptations that maybe we hadn't even considered there, okay? Like I said, you don't have to write anything down there. That was just getting us thinking about adaptations. So we've now got this video. It's called the shovel-snouted lizard. So like I said, go onto the link that's on Satchel 1. Alternatively, go onto my YouTube, look up a folder, a playlist called Year 10 Distance Learning. And under this video, you will see 3 videos. One is the shovel-snouted lizard, one is the dresser crab, and one is the archer fish. Go now, stop this video, watch each of those 3 videos and write down 1 bullet point from each video about each of those 3 different animals. Each video is only a couple of minutes long. It's not going to take very much time, but come off this video, go and watch those, and then come back to me afterwards, please. Okay, what I'd like us to do now, please, is hopefully we watch those videos. We've written down a couple of bullet points for each, or 1 bullet point for each, that's fine. We've got 2 very different animals here. We've got an Arctic animal, which I've put the polar bear, and we've got a desert animal, and I've put the desert fox here. And we can see already from surface area to volume ratio that desert fox has got the big ears, the big tail, really good for losing heat. Now, what I'd like us to do is just take maybe half a page in our book, subheading and bullet points underneath, or you can do it like a spider diagram. I don't mind which. Try and have a go at writing down some of the animal adaptations for those 2 animals. Okay, so you'll need to pause the video now to do that activity. Okay, here's me doing that activity. So for the polar bear, we've got the fur insulation, blubber insulation. That large animals have that small surface area to volume ratio, really good at maintaining body temperature, not losing heat. They shiver, they have small ears linked in with the surface area, and the warmer blood from the interior of the animal flows to the cold extremities so that they don't get frostbite, for example. Then we look at the desert animal. They're able to sweat. They've got only a small amount of thin fur, small amount of fat, large thin ears that help them to increase that large surface area to volume ratio, really good at heat loss. They sweat. They're active in the early morning and the late evening, so dawn and dusk, where it's less the heat is less intense, and they burrow in nice cool places in the daytime that stay warm at night. Okay, so lots and lots of ideas there. What you can do now is you can annotate either with a green pen or with your normal pen, I don't mind, onto your own lists or spider diagrams, and to finish that off you'll need to pause the video now. Okay, so now we're looking at the factors that cause a population to decline. All of the external factors that could affect the numbers of a particular species living in an area. Okay, now you can pause it if you want and have a little think, or talk to someone, have a, kind of get your own list of ideas. But I'm going to run through these now, and yes, I would like you to write some notes, please. 1, disease. Disease comes into an area. We talked about this with our food webs on lesson 1. Then it can destroy lots of things that are living in that area. We've got loss of habitat, loss of food, new predator coming into the area, climate change, natural disaster. So this is our floods and earthquakes and tsunamis and all that sort of stuff, volcanic eruptions. And one thing I will add in there is it could be, in with new predator, we could have poaching or hunting as well. So you could include that if you want to. And then what can that population do to survive? Well, they could separate their community. So some go off in one direction in search of food, some go off in another direction. And if there's less of them to feed, they might have a greater chance of survival. They could find a new territory, go in search of food or a better place to live. They could change their food source, so they could find other things in the area and find an alternative food source in order to survive. And those are examples of how they adapt. And now these adaptations are not to be confused with evolution, where there are genetic changes. These are just behavioural adaptations. So changing what we eat, living in a different location, moving to a new place. Okay. Yes, you do need to have notes for all of that. That does come up as a 6 marker quite regularly. I think we might have one more point actually. Yes, they could migrate. Okay, which we have the seasonal migrations, and then we're having some more permanent migrations now as well, which links in with climate change. Okay, if you need extra time on that slide, pause now. Everybody knows this video. This is the video with the camel and the adaptations. If you want it stuck in your head all day, by all means go onto the internet, find that video and watch it. I did find it, but it wouldn't let me put it into my own playlist. They put the restriction on it. But if you want to watch that video, then by all means have a go and watch it and get enthusiastic by it, okay? We've got a camel here. This one's quite good for, we don't need to write any notes on this one, it's just a discussion. Quite good for showing that the fat is all stored in the hump there. If it was stored all around the body, it would get very hot, so it stores it in the hump. It's not water, it is fat. We've got this thick fur, which can molt in the summer, so that because it gets quite cold at night, so they do need some protection, but they will molt in summer months. Here there are pads on the camel at the bottom there. You can see there's a gap underneath for airflow, so it doesn't have to put its whole body on the hot sand. We've got this large surface area so it doesn't sink into the ground. We've got these strong legs, and I'll show you a bigger picture of this in a minute. Inside the mouth, there's a massively large surface area, so when it's chewing on its food, it can be absorbing those nutrients straight through. Remember, we've got amylase produced in the salivary glands, it goes in at the mouth, so it's actually digesting some of the food, absorbing it straight into the bloodstream there. And we've got the long eyelashes there to stop the sand going in. This picture here is to do with this swollen part of the mouth that comes out, and I think it's to do with mating, but I've forgotten because it's a while since I watched the programme. But if you watch Inside Nature's Giants Getting the Hump, Channel 4, you should be able to find it on YouTube. In fact, I think it might be in the Year 10 double distance learning folder. And that's quite a nice little episode if you feel yourself wanting to do a bit more biology. Okay, so that was just a chatting exercise rather than writing anything down. And there you can see that massively large surface area inside the mouth of the camel. Okay, great for absorbing substances straight into the blood. I don't think we need to dwell on this too much. If you do want to pause this and write anything down, you can, but you definitely don't need to. It's all points that I've covered already, and we've got some more points there. So if you are interested in spending a bit more time, but I'm not going to make you, I don't think we need to. Have a look at surface area to volume ratio. This is something we've looked at before, and we're saying that if we've got one cube, it has 6 surfaces, but it's only one cube, so it's got a ratio of 6 to 1. If we've got 8 cubes, they have 24 surfaces facing out, but it's made of 8 cubes, so it's a 24 to 8 ratio. And if we had 27 cubes, which is this one here, we have 54 surfaces facing out, and there are 27 cubes, so we've got a 54 to 27 ratio. And this helps us to understand this surface area to volume ratio. We could simplify those down as well, and we would see that roughly this is a 2 to 1 ratio rather than the 6 to 1. So that would have a larger surface area to volume ratio than this larger object here. Hopefully that makes sense. Have a go, think it through. You can work out how many times 27 goes into 54, and then you'll get the exact ratio to 1. In fact, actually, I'll just grab this calculator here. I know it sounded like I was stumbling there, but I got it okay. Oh, it is actually dead on 2 to 1. So, yeah, 2 to 1 ratio means that obviously it has a smaller surface area to volume ratio compared to the small cube, one on its own, which has a large surface area to volume ratio. Kind of comparing a mouse to an elephant, okay? Okay, again, write from that what you would like to. If you want to do a graph of that, you can, but by all means, skip that if you want to, okay? That's just in there as an additional thing. Should you want to, don't feel you need to. So does shape matter? Well, let's do we've got the same thing, 8 cubes. Let's look at the surface area to volume ratio. Now this could be a time when you want to pause it and work it out yourself, because you might have to do that in an exam, so it will be good practice, but it's up to you. So the cube has a surface area of 24 and a volume of 8. That simplified is 3 to 1. And the oblong, which could be like a snake or something of a similar shape, has a surface area of 34 to a volume of 8. And when we simplify that, you can see it has a larger surface area to volume ratio than the cube. So this one will be better at losing heat than this one, okay? I think that might be a good one to maybe sketch and write out, or certainly write down the surface area to volume ratio, and maybe just write a sentence to explain what that means, okay? So you'll need to pause the video now. Okay, strategies for survival. We're nearly at the end of the lesson now. So there's lots and lots of ideas here, things that could be done. A lot of these things I have talked about in the past, or maybe we've heard in the past. I think this is probably one where I'm not even going to read out all of the different things. I'm just going to leave that there. If you want to read through it, you can always pause, add anything that you feel would benefit your notes, but you don't have to add anything if you don't want to, okay? So if you need to pause, pause now. Okay, we've got ourselves a foundation question here. So have a little look at the question. We've got this lizard that seems to run across the water, and we've got 3 adaptations, and we've got to see what the advantage of each adaptation is. So toes on the back of the feet are webbed. What could be good about that? The long tail, how could that be handy? And brown skin. That sounds like it's going to be a camouflage thing to me. If you are higher, then you can skip on to the higher question that's coming. If you're foundation, please do this question. So pause now, so you've got time to write it out. And let's look at the next part of the question. Suggest one advantage of the lizard being able to run across the surface of the water. And animals such as lizards compete with each other. Give 2 factors that animals compete for. So that links back to that first lesson that we had in this topic. So you've got extra time to complete that. Pause now. Okay, here are our answers. So toes on the back of the feet increases surface area. Long tail helps the lizard to balance, and brown skin for camouflage on branches. Being able to go across the water helps them escape predators. It's faster than swimming, they can chase prey, or it stops them from drowning. Any one of those will work for your answer. And then we've got tick boxes of food and territory. If you need extra time to do your green penning, then pause now. Okay, another foundation question. This time we're looking at the Arctic fox. Snowy conditions, a bit like the desert fox there. You can see the Arctic fox on the left and the fennec fox, which is in the desert, on the right. Explain how each of the following help the Arctic fox to survive in these conditions. Long, thick fur and a white coat. The fennec fox lives in hot deserts. Explain how each of the following helps it to survive in hot conditions. Very large ear flaps, hairs on the soles of its feet. Okay, so you have a chance to get all of your answers down. If you could pause now. Okay, here's our answers. So we've got insulation, preventing heat loss. And then we've got camouflage, other animals can't see it. For part B, we've got heat loss. We've got insulation from the hot sand, prevents heat passing from the sand, prevents burning, any of those. Okay, if you need extra time, pause now. Okay, we're moving on to our higher question now. If you want to try it on your foundation, that's absolutely fine. The anglerfish, which we've seen on Finding Nemo, lives at depths of over 1,000 metres. In clear water, sunlight does not usually reach more than 100 metres deep. Many anglerfish have a transparent lure containing a high concentration of bioluminescent bacteria. Bioluminescent bacteria produce light, suggest an advantage to the anglerfish of having a lure containing bioluminescent bacteria. So we've seen it on Finding Nemo. The lure has been labelled on the picture there. It's got these sharp teeth, living at very deep under the water. Okay, suggest an advantage of having the lure. Try and get 2 marks for this. It's a 2 marker, so try and get 2 points or 2 linking points. And if you need extra time, then pause now. So it lets the anglerfish see. It attracts prey or mates or to see predators in the dark. Lets the anglerfish see, attract prey to get food. Lets the anglerfish see to attract mates to reproduce. Or lets the anglerfish see predators to avoid being eaten. Okay, and they kind of work in pairs there, those answers. That's why we've got the ors in between. Okie dokie, so if you need any time to catch up on your writing on your green pen there, then you can press pause now. Okay, I don't think we need to do this. I think we probably get it because we've gone through it with a lot of different examples today. So explain which animal release heat fastest and why. Obviously it's referring to surface area to volume ratio, totally optional, but I understand if you've had enough of talking about surface area to volume ratio and you want to skip that. And that takes us to the end of the lesson. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. That was quite a good one. Next time we're looking at plant adaptations, and you will see that they are videos that I recorded in the previous lockdown. So some of the stuff I say might not be as relevant. Let me have any feedback if you do, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Bye.